exciting for that. And then obviously to the best conference in the land. We got Georgia at plus 185. We got Texas at plus 310, and then Ole Miss at plus 650. And before I let Shonee go into it, I think a lot of this is based off of who got dealt certain cards. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but apparently they made the schedules based off of the last decade of winning percentage. Mm-hmm. So, like, for me as an Oklahoma fan, that's why we have probably the second, if not the hardest schedule in the country. Brutal schedule. And I think that's why our odds are at plus 4,000. Yeah. Even me as an Oklahoma fan, though, I'm still confident in the team's ability to win 9 or 10 games because of what we return on the production standpoint and how talented we are. However, the schedule is brutal, and I cannot be, numb to that. But I do think we can get that 9-10 win total, right? But going into this, you got Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss at the top. Texas, before I let Shonee get into it, they have a great schedule. I think that plays into this a lot. Clearly,
well, that goes that you're including like home and away games. Yeah, like who's at home.
Exactly. Because y'all got Georgia at home, who's going to be your hardest team and hardest game outside of the Michigan and Oklahoma game. Michigan is non-conference, so yes, they could lose that game, but it doesn't affect the SEC. And then you have Oklahoma neutral field. That game's always a coin flip. So at the end of the day, Georgia is really the only challenging team. And then obviously the A&M game at the end of the year, just because there will be so much with the storylines, the decade. And it's going to be tough to play there. I'm not going to say A&M. And A&M's still a talented team.
The Boy Scouts will be riled up.
It's still a talented team. So that'll be a tough game. But outside of the point, that's kind of the top three. And I'm going to let Shonee go into it.
Yeah. Well, while I'm going into this, if you could leave the odds up, but on the side, pull up Texas and OU schedule. I want to do a little exercise between us two at the end of this.
Alrighty.
Quickly. And then go back to the odds whenever you can. But yes, obviously, if there's any disrespect I can point at as a Texas fan, being the defending SEC champions, to put us behind Georgia is funny. They didn't even make the playoffs last year, but I digress. We stomped the team that they couldn't beat in T-Town. Again, I won't be singularly focused on that. Can you go back to the odds real quick?
Yeah.
But this is going back to what I was saying about when the original announcement of NIL got announced, and then shortly thereafter, I don't remember which came first, whether it was NIL or the conference realignment, but Texas and OU to the SEC kicked off the beginning of everything that we're talking about right now. They were the first dominoes to fall, the two big dogs to make that move. It set off fireworks around the country. There was a meltdown in College Station because that's what they do in College Station. And now we're here. It is finally here. For a long time, it felt too good to be true to me. I've prayed every single day for good health and safety so I can make it to this point where it's a reality. And now it is here. Georgia at the top. All jokes aside, as they should be. They've won 2 of the last 3 national championships. They've lost one game or 2 games in 3 years. Both of those losses are to the same team in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
They're returning their starter at quarterback. NFL players across the board. Kirby Smart's Kirby fucking Smart. Georgia's at the top. Texas at number 2 at plus 310. Love them at plus 310. I don't think they'll be at plus 310 when the season starts. I think it'll be closer to where Georgia's at plus 185. So that is good money right now as a Longhorn fan. Every time you get that odds change, go ahead, bet it again. Very high on the Longhorns. Longhorns are going to be very, very good. Very, very good. Can't say it enough. They're really 3 deep across the roster. You can point at weaknesses. Every team's going to have a weakness as opposed to what, I guess, your strengths on your team. Texas, I think, offensively with one of the top quarterbacks in the country returning as far as Heisman odds are concerned, and as far as I'm concerned, what these eyes can see in QB talent, with a coach and cerebral mind, offensive mind, and Steve Sarkisian with weapons surrounded with him at the receiver and running back position, even at tight end. A very experienced offensive line, which is necessary going into the big bad SEC. Defensive side of the ball, you've added some elite edge rushing ability to the team that you did not have. I still think we're going to be very good on the interior. Are we going to be winning awards like we did last year and producing first rounders? I'm not sure. the ceiling is that, but I think we'll be very, very solid. Our linebacking core will be better. Anthony Hill Jr. is fucking elite. I think he will be a top 10 draft pick bona fide. Our secondary is going to be very solid. I think when your weakest link might be a guy like Michael Taff. I'm very high on Michael Taff. Love the guy. Incredibly cerebral. Very good football player. If he's your weakest link, you're good in the secondary. So obviously that's my pick. Moving forward, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Love Lane Kiffin. Always have. He has really, I think, found his perfect spot. I think Ole Miss is perfect for him. I don't think he loves high school recruiting. He is Lane. Anybody that loves college football knows all about Lane Kiffin, his persona, his charisma, his personality. I think Ole Miss is perfect. They got the NIL money that they're willing to spend. They'll break every rule that there is to be broken. They'll cover up anything that needs to be covered up to win and to be a SEC power. I think they got a shot to make some noise. Not just a shot. They should make some noise. They should compete for the conference. Jackson Dart's returning, right?
Yeah, Jackson Dart's returning.
So you can expect him to be electric with Lane Kiffin going into his third year with him.
Yeah, they've returned a lot of production too.
They got studs
everywhere.
Studs across the roster. Anytime there's a major transfer that enters the market, you can absolutely count on Ole Miss being a player. Alabama. With Keelan DeBoer in year one, coming off of his massive success at Washington.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a big jump there at plus 950. My Bama buddies, Trey Heyman, Trey Sanders, go ahead and sprinkle that plus 950 if you're as confident as you say you are. I think that you'll see a jump in the play. Jalen Milroe, who's a freak athlete, but with Keelan DeBoer, you should see a jump in his passing abilities. If you don't, I don't know how long he's going to
be the starter
there. Yeah. But I do anticipate there to be a jump. Great kid, great work ethic, freak fucking athlete. LSU plus 1,000. I don't know if there's another number to put them at. Yeah, you can't go higher than that. You would probably make the argument they could go lower. I'd give the benefit of the doubt just because the talent that they got at LSU. Obviously, the atmosphere in Baton Rouge is fucking electric. I have legitimate concerns about that run defense again. And being in the SEC, man, that's not going to be fun. Tennessee. Heupel's got it rolling. We'll see.
I think they have a light schedule too. I think that's why their odds are high.
Plus 1,100.
I only think the people they play. I think they play us, Florida, and Georgia. I think that's it. That's like the only tough games.
Yeah,
for them.
Well, they should be electric.
They probably play Bama too.
Yeah,
I need to look.
They're always going to make noise. Tennessee should be like what Oklahoma State always is, and a little bit better version of that. They definitely will recruit better. They'll get a lot better players. But as far as the competitive balance in the SEC, they'll probably always be counted out. But on any given year, Heupel and that team could be competing for the conference. Missouri, they're competing in the NIL space now. They're very happy out that way. Won't spend too much time on them. It's fucking Missouri. Texas A&M plus 2,000. Fucking whatever. Oklahoma at plus 4,000. That's when it kind of drops off a little bit. You're an OU fan again. I think it's a brutal fucking schedule throughout. You got your Auburns, your Kentuckys. The last thing I'll say on it, in the SEC wise, before Cam gets rolling, I know this is probably what we're going to talk about the longest, is the bottom tier teams. Like you got Mississippi State at plus 30,000. Arkansas at plus 20,000. Those teams still got NFL players on both sides of the football.
Ridiculous.
Florida at plus 11,000. By the end of the year,
they got a good roster.
That could be a team at the end of the year with a guy like Legway that could be scary, and nobody wants to play him. They're coming to Austin.
South Carolina, they've been recruiting really well too.
South Carolina will recruit well. Kentucky, they can always be stingy on defense and shit. At the end of the day, these teams geographically are in locations where they're going to have dogs year in, year out. Arkansas with that Jerry Jones money, Walmart money, they're always going to be frisky. It's time to probably fucking look at what they're going to do at the coaching spot. But
I think Pittman's on the hot seat.
The SEC is college football, man.
Yeah, picking up where Shonee left off, right? There's just so much. There's so many dogs in this conference. It is literally NFL junior. Like, you go to SEC because you want to play in the NFL. Even if you go to a school that wins 4 to 3 games, it doesn't matter. You're still probably going to get drafted